I was stuck in a state of confusion for years, and honestly, it wasn't until the past year I finally understood the real missing piece. And so I'm going to show you exactly why everything you've been talk about quitting porn has been leading you into the wrong direction. This is why no matter how hard you try or how long you've been tried, you haven't been able to quit it. And it's not just about what you've been told. It's about what other guys are missing. They don't realize how deeply your brain has been conditioned. They don't know how urges actually work. And because of that, they falling into the same traps over and over again. So this is what you need to hear right now. What you need to know right now. If you really listen, if you really let yourself know what's actually going on, it will change everything. Before we begin, this video is deep, so make sure you have time to watch it. And I promise it will be worth it. If you want a detailed step-by-step guide on how to manage urges and break the neural pathways that keep you coming back to porn, check out the Urge full documentation. Look into the description of this video for details on how to get it. And remember, for 20 years, I wanted nothing more than to break free from unwanted pornography use, so I could finally live my life the way I knew I was meant to be. And during that long struggle, I looked everywhere for solutions. I listened to therapists, spiritual leaders, and countless online voices who promised solutions. And believe me, I tried on. I used to install filter and software blockers. I commit myself to spiritual practices, and I rely on sheer willpower. I distract myself with healthier activities, and I even join accountability support groups. And yet some things did help. Sometimes I managed to go weeks without pornography, but my journey was always up and down. I relapsed many times. Every relapse left me feeling even more ashamed, broken, and hopeless. And each relapse reinforced my belief that something was fundamentally wrong with me. And then one day it finally hit me. I realized that only advice I was getting came from people who never faced years of repeated relapses like I did. They just offer band-aids or a service level advice. And that advice unintentionally reinforced a harmful mindset in myself. And it made me believe that my real problem was that I simply wasn't strong enough, or moral enough, or disciplined enough. And after years of struggling and trying everything out there, I finally discovered a deeper truth. The problem wasn't about lacking willpower or morality. It required an entirely new approach that addressed the root cause of the addiction. Here you can see the iceberg model of unwanted porn use. Imagine your unwanted pornography like the iceberg floating in the ocean. And the tip of that iceberg, the small portion above the water, is the actual behavior of watching porn. This is what you see and what you often try to fix. But hidden beneath the surface is a much larger and more powerful part made of deeper emotional and psychology issues. Until you acknowledge and address those submerged forces, The tip of the iceberg will keep reappearing no matter how many times you try to chop it off. Now let's talk about what's going on below the waterline. And these are the hidden drivers that keep pulling you back to porn even when you really want to quit. And the first one is the emotional avoidance. This one. Many people feel stress, sadness, or boredom and turn to porn for quick escape. It brings temporary relief, but it doesn't fix the real cause of those feelings. And each time you rely on porn to cope with those emotions, you build a link between those unwanted feelings and watching porn. And over time, your brain learns to respond to those emotions with an automatic urge for porn. This condition can make the behavior harder to stop because those same feelings will trigger the habit again and again. And the second one is the sexual shame. Some families or cultures, they teach that sexual desire is dirty or sinful, and these messages become part of a person's self-image. So they might believe something is wrong with them for having sexual urges. They feel the need to hide the desires. That often leads them to watch porn in secret, which adds more shame and continues the cycle. The third one is the on or nothing mindset. This is the mindset of willpower. Willpower seems like a strong solution at first. You decide you quit porn and keep your promise, and you might succeed for a while. But one slip up can feel like that you fail completely. You might think, if I messed up once, I cannot do this at all, which leads you back to porn for comfort or release. And this on or nothing mindset can distract you from exploring the deeper reasons you started watching porn in the first place. It keeps you focused on the slip up itself rather than what might have caused it. And each relapse adds more shame and the cycle continues. The number 4 are negative beliefs. You might have grown up hearing words, hearing people talk to you, something like you are worthless, you are lazy, or you are weak. So over time, those words, those labels become part of how you see yourself. And porn might offer a soft break from those thoughts. It can, but it can also prove them to you each time you watch. So one slip up might feel like a confirmation that you are indeed hopeless, and that drives you back to porn again for relief, and the cycle repeats. Negative beliefs turn into a lens through which you view every mistake, so you feel stuck in those labels. The number 5 is the loneliness and anxiety. Here's what I mean. Some people feel isolated or uneasy about forming deeper relationships. They may fear rejections or believe they lack the skills to bond with others. And porn appears safer because it does not require emotional vulnerability, and you stay in your space and avoid the risk of real interaction. Over time, you can become more withdrawn and use porn as stand-in for affection, and that habit grows stronger as your loneliness increases. And this will create a loop where isolation feeds porn use, and porn use feeds isolation. The number 6 is the dopamine craving. Your brain loves novelty and reward, and porn delivers a quick rush of pleasure. You might notice that certain moods or times of a day or situation prompt you to watch porn for that rush. And each time you do this, the dopamine reward strengthens the habit and it feels more automatic. That reward loop can override your intention too quick. You may reach for porn out of boredom, stress, or routine, and before you know it, you are stuck in the same pattern again. And you can see that on these issues, the emotional avoidance or the sexual shame and negative beliefs and the fear of real connection might seem separate. But when you look deeper, they all trace back to one thing: shame. Shame is not the same as guilt. Guilt is feeling bad about something you did, but shame is feeling bad about who you are. It makes you believe something is fundamentally wrong with you. That belief doesn't just in your mind, it becomes part of your identity and drives your behavior. If you feel broken or unfixable, porn becomes more than just a habit. It becomes an escape from yourself. So that's why some advice focus on emotions, relationship, or willpower. They rarely go deep enough to address the shame itself. And that shame fuels something even bigger, the conditioned response. That keep bringing you back to porn. Your brain has been wired porn as the automatic response to certain emotions and situations. So when you feel stress, boredom, or failure, your brain expects porn to follow. But this response didn't happen overnight. You train yourself into it over time. And this is exactly how Pavlov's famous experiment worked. Every time he fed his dogs, he rang a bell. At first, the bell meant nothing. But after enough repetitions, the dogs started salivating at the sound of the bell, even if no food were present. Because their brains had wired the bell to the reward, which means the food. And the same thing happens with porn. So certain emotions, situations like this, emotions, situations, or even times of the day act as the bell, and your brain expects porn as the reward. You may not even realize it, but the moment stress, boredom, or loneliness hits, the urge kicks in before you have time to think, and the habit runs on autopilot. This is why quitting porn is not just about stopping the behavior. It's about breaking the cycle that keeps pulling you back. Shame and porn fit into each other. When you watch porn, you feel shame. Here, when you watch porn, you will feel shame. And the shame convinces you that you are broken and hopeless, which creates more emotional distress. And since your brain is wired to use porn as an escape from distress, the urge comes back stronger. The cycle repeats itself, and this reinforces the conditioned response every time. The only way to break this cycle is to break the conditioned response. So that's why no amount of willpower can overpower a response that has been wired this deeply. In Pavlov's reverse experiment, when he wanted to untrain the conditioned response, he didn't remove the bell or stop the dogs from hearing it. Instead, he kept drinking the bell, but no food. At first, the dogs still salivated. They expected the reward, but as the bell kept drinking with no food, their brains had no choice but to unlearn the connection. Eventually, the bell became meaningless. The automatic response completely disappeared. And this works the same way here. The goal is to not avoid urges or fight them with willpower, but to experience them without reacting with porn. So when the urge appears, you process it. Instead of suppressing it or distracting yourself or giving in. This is how real freedom happens. Not by avoiding urges, not by battling with them, but by process the urge so that you can break the connection entirely. So when that link is gone, quitting no longer feels like a fight. It simply becomes your new reality. So here are two facts you need to know. The first one is you recognize the cycle that keeps you stuck. Most people believe their struggle is just about watching porn. They think, if I could stop, everything would be fine. But porn isn't a real problem. It's the way that your brain has been using to deal with something deeper. And the biggest reason quitting feels impossible is that porn and shame fit into each other. When you feel an urge, you watch porn, and you feel shame afterward, and you believe you're broken or hopeless, and that emotion distress make your brain crave an escape, and you relapse, and the cycles start again. And with every loop, the conditioned response gets stronger. This is why you relapse even when you want to quit. Your brain isn't making a conscious decision. It's just running the program it's was trained to follow. So once you realize porn is just a surface level symptom, you stop wasting time trying to control the behavior and start focus on what's actually keeping you stuck. Fact number 2, untrain the response. This is where everything changes. And most people try to quit by avoiding porn, blocking sites, or distracting themselves. Those are the things that I've been doing. I did for 20 years, but they didn't work. Because it doesn't untrain the habit. It doesn't break the condition. So think about Pavlov's dogs. When he wanted to untrain their conditioned response, he didn't stop drinking the bell. This is the key idea. He didn't stop drinking the bell. Instead, he kept drinking it, but without giving food. And your urges work the same way. If you keep reacting to urges with porn, the response stays strong. Yeah, of course. If you try to fight urges, here's what most people do. If you try to fight urges, you just make them feel even more overwhelmed. But if you let the urge be there without responding, the connection starts breaking. So, alright, if you make this far, I want to acknowledge you. You're here because you're serious about changing this pattern in your life, and that's a big deal. Now, if you're ready to take this work deeper, if you just don't want to understand the problem, but actually want hands-on guidance to rewire your brain and stop this cycle for good, I invite you to join my coaching program. Inside, we go step by step through the exact process to untrain your brain's response to porn. You will get personalized one-on-one coaching, direct support from me, and a structural path forward. So if you're ready to do this the right way, check out the link in the description. And for those of you who want to start applying this method right away, I put together a free in-depth training called The Urge. This is not a webinar, this is a full documentation, a full training. It covers the missing pieces most people never talk about and shows you how to process urges in a way that actually works without willpower, without avoidance, or without fighting yourself. So this is not a webinar, it's a full written guide with a step-by-step training along with my video that explains everything out in detail. You can, this doc has 6 parts and it will help you on the knowledge and on the step-by-step to show you how to process the urge. So if you want to get instant access to this, you can click on the link in the description. So whichever option you choose, I just want to say you don't have to stuck in this cycle. And this is not about trying harder. It's about retraining your brain so that quitting isn't a battle anymore.